away once you get.
Oops.
Yeah, it partly goes away.
Hi, I'm John Bosquet-Morra, and today we're going to be looking at how to operate the pellet stove here at Stuyvesant Train Depot. First of all, loading the stove. You have two hatches here. You have this one and this one. This second one here, if you look carefully here, you'll see a little button. This little button is a safety feature so that when you're loading the stove will not feed up. There's our famous train sounds going by. Well, you know, what could be more appropriate? So when you load the stove and pour pellets in here, the stove can't run, it can't feed pellets. It's a little safety feature. The razor blade that you see here, I'm leaving in here because that's how I open up my bags of pellets. Here's a bag of pellets that I've got going already. And all I do is I put it on the ground like this, and I get a razor blade, and I just pull it across my razor blade, and I pull it across there. And then I like to pick it up on one corner like this and aim the pellets so that they go in the hopper. So I'll just go ahead and top this off. Well, it's not quite topped off, but there it is. A couple little things. If you get too many pellets clogged in the edge up here when you fill it, this lid won't close properly and the stove won't light. So make sure that you close that up. So you close this up first. Before you start the stove every day, let's look down here. There's a couple of things that you should do for kind of like basic maintenance. Over here on the side, attached to a magnet, is this tool. And you can do this, you can do the next operation with your fingers when the stove is cold, but if you want to do this when the stove is hot, you reach in here to this little funny little mechanism. Oh, I'll just do it with my fingers for now. I'll pull it out first. With my fingers if I can get it. There it is. See, this little tool fits around that. This is called the tube scraper. And this you just do every day before you start the stove. What that does is it cleans off ash from the heat exchanger inside so that it behaves itself. There it goes. Okay. So you don't want that building up with a bunch of residue. Now there's another one of those same shaped prongs down here underneath this here, which is the ash lip. And it's very hard to see. But that actually cleans out the burn pot on the stove. So just wiggle that back and forth a few times. When you're done, make sure it's pushed all the way back in. Otherwise, the stove won't work properly. Now, here's how you start the stove on a cold day, which is today. Normally, you don't have to do this. But first, I would reach around the inside of the stove right here and just give it a little pull. And that will open up the front. Then you have this little lever over here that you open up, and that gives you access to the burn pot, which is in here. So this is the burn pot in here. Let me show that to you just for curiosity's sake. That's what this looks like. This is where the pellets fall in for the stove to run. So I'm going to put that back in, and I'll show you my little thing that I came up with so that you can light this in cold weather. The reason I'm bringing that up is because this stove has trouble lighting if you light it in cold weather because the sensors won't register that it's on because the cast iron is so cold it hangs on to the temperature, the ambient temperature. Now, what I do is I open this up again and I grab just 2 handfuls of pellets. Here's one, and I drop it there into the burn pot. Here's another one, and I'm going to drop it in. Boom. Close up my lid here on the top again. Both lids, of course. I'm closing this up down here. Pushing that down so it's locked up. Closing this big one here. And that's pretty much it. Over here on the side, if you come over this way, you see that there's this control panel, which actually slides in and out. But I mean, you can slide it back if you want it to be prettier. There's one button here in the lower left. It says on off. So that should tell you how it goes. You just push that until you hear noises.
That's the lower right.
I'm sorry, lower right. Sorry. Yes, left and right are challenging for me sometimes. Lower right, there it is, on off. What you're going to hear at this point is you're going to hear pellets dropping into the burn pot, and eventually it's going to ignite. Let's go ahead and pause. Okay, the stove has started, and that actually took about 5 minutes. Now here's what you're going to need to do next. You're going to have to sort of wait, and when you feel and hear the high-speed fan coming on right here, pushing the air out, that means you've achieved correct ignition and the stove is up and running. And once that happens, you can come over here to the control panel and adjust the temperature. The temperature adjustment is right here. You'll see a low on the lower left. You'll see a low and a high button, and obviously you just push on that and make the red thing go up and down. That will determine how many pellets feed into the burn pot and will make the stove warmer or less hot. Okay. The fan switch is over here. I always just have it on high, and you can't quite see this right now, but there's a power button here that's blinking. That means the stove is not yet up to temperature and it's not yet officially running. When it's officially running, you'll feel that air coming out here, and you'll hear it too. It'll go, like it's running a little bit higher. That means everything is fine. And at that point, you can adjust your temperature. Right now, if you try to adjust your temperature, nothing will happen. Finally, when you want to leave, all you have to do is push the on-off switch again, and you'll hear some funny noises like it's changing its cycle or something, and you can just leave the room at that point because it'll shut down by itself and go through its cycle of shutdown. So that's pretty much it. That's all there is to know about it. You do your little clean out first, which is not really a cleaning, it's just like a daily maintenance. You push the then you grab 2 handfuls of pellets and drop them into the burn pot, and you push the on button, and then you wait for it to come up to temperature and for the fan to come on, and then you can increase or decrease your heat temperature setting. So that's about it for this glorious St. Croix pellet stove here at the Stuyvesant train station depot. Please remember that we are always ready for donations for our glorious restoration efforts. This is John Bosquet-Morra signing off.